a protest protesting the death penalty. Let's listen in. MustangMedic Reporting.
As we seek atonement for our sins from the previous year, the consummate prayer asking for forgiveness recited at the start of that holiday, Yom Kippur, is an ancient Aramaic prayer called Kol Nidre. Kol Nidre is an invocation that asks that any vows we have made and that we have broken be forgiven. It is a plea made before the heavenly court and before a human court. We make this plea on behalf of all in the Jewish community who support us, firmly standing against the death penalty. We recite these words now, on this holy day, a day when I choose to wear the same garments that we wear on the holiest day of the year, the kittel, the prayer shawl, the color white, because this is where we must stand. So we recite these words now in front of this U.S. Supreme Court as we ask for forgiveness for having broken our vows and the commandments of lo tirtzach, you shall not murder. We humbly ask forgiveness now for the national sin of the death penalty. And we invoke the words of one famous Jew whose Hebrew name was Yitzaruchel bat Tziraleah v'Nisan. She said, quote, "If I were queen, there would be no death penalty." Her English name was Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, of blessed memory. And I tell you, I feel her neshama, her spirit with me right now. We're going to recite this text. It'll take a few minutes. It's in Aramaic. I'll give you the translation first. I've changed a few words to reflect the killing of John William Hummel, the honorably discharged U.S. Marine that is taking place in Huntsville, Texas, while we recite these very words. What John did to violently take the lives of his victims, Jody Hummel, Joy Hummel, and Clyde Eddie Bedford, was inexcusable. Zichronam livracha. May their memories be for an everlasting blessing. And what we are doing now to John is inexcusable. We said before that we must speak the truth to power. It is a historical fact that lethal injection carries on the Nazi legacy, having been developed and created by them in the Action T-Form protocol to kill people deemed unworthy of life. This continues that legacy. And where does the violence stop? It stops here. It stops now. As we now ask forgiveness and seek atonement for this ethical, moral, and spiritual abomination. One person that I know who supports the death penalty told me that he feels that reciting this prayer now, Kol Nidre, cheapens the prayer. I disagree. I would argue, and many stand with me, that the prayer was composed for this very moment. Hear me. The death penalty says infinitely more about our society that allows it than the human beings condemned by it. Its very existence condemns us all. And for allowing this most egregious abomination of human rights to take place anywhere in this land, we must all atone. L'chaim, to life. In a moment, I'll ask my colleague, Cantor Asa Fradkin, to recite the introduction to this prayer, the translation for which is the following. By the authority of the court on high, and by the authority of this court below, with divine consent and with consent of this community, we grant permission to pray with those who have transgressed. And then the prayer itself is this. All vows and binding statements and oaths bans, restrictions, penalties, and every term that sets things out of bounds. All that we vow and swear, ban or bar from ourselves. From the previous Day of Atonement until this very day in Huntsville, Texas, right now. Each one of them we regret. Let each one be released, forgotten, each vow undone, null and void, not in force and not in effect. Our vows are no longer vows. Our prohibitions are no longer prohibitions. And our oaths to value the sanctity of life are no longer oaths. I call upon my colleague Asa, Cantor Asa, to introduce them.
Huntsville, Texas, עכשיו כולכון יחרטנה בהון כולכון ירון שרן Jehon Sharon Shikin Shvitin Betelin Mutalin La Sharirin Vela Kayamin Nidrana La Nidre Vesarana La Sare Ushuatana
What are your thoughts on the death penalty?